Hello everyone, this is Anam Kadri and today I'm going to tell you a brief introduction about the algorithm. Whenever you carry out a task, you always need to follow a few steps in order to accomplish the task. For example, if you are going to school today, you have to get up from the bed, brush your teeth, wash your face, do your breakfast, pack up your bag, and then leave. These are different steps that lead you to leaving for school or getting ready for school. Or let's say that we are baking a cake today. Even before baking a cake, you need to actually prepare all the utensils that will be using, all the apparatus that you will be using. Then the ingredients should be ready and properly managed, and then you start mixing one at a time. You start stirring it, you start folding it, and then putting it into a mold and then into the baking pan, obviously, and into the oven. So these are the different steps that you follow to actually bake a cake. Likewise, whenever you are carrying out a task, you need to carry out a few series of steps. That is where algorithm comes in. Of a mathematician who was in the ninth century. He was a mathematician, famous mathematician of Iran, Abu Ja'far ibn Musa al-Khwarizmi, who gave a name algorithm to all those series of steps that is carried out to solve a problem. Later on, this got devised or derived into the word algorithm that we now use today in order to carry out or in order to explain the different series or sequence of steps that you need to follow to solve a problem. So the basic definition of algorithm is it is a finite sequence of unambiguous instructions designed to solve a particular problem. We say that it is further divided into two subsections. One of them is a pseudocode. The pseudocode, as the term implies, is basically divided into further two parts, the word pseudo and the word codes. The word pseudo means fake, and code is the code that you write in order to carry out a program. So this, why do we call it fake codes? Because these are not the typical codes or of the programming language that we use or the proper syntax that we use in order to carry out a program. In fact, these are steps that user define and user understands. Like if I am trying to explain to you something to carry out a process, obviously I'm going to tell you first do this and do that and then do that. I'll be telling you in an English context, in an English syntax without using any jargons or without using any syntax, perfect syntax of programming language, because it's not necessary that you understand that programming language. These series of steps that I define are therefore defined as the pseudocodes, which in a perfect definition is a series of steps defined in user understandable text to carry out a program. The other thing in which algorithm is divided is a flowchart. So basically we can say that pseudocodes and flowcharts together make up an algorithm. Flowcharts are sometimes textual data um, is not only enough to explain a certain process taking place. So you need to take help of a few pictures, of a few diagrams, of a few arrow lines to show which step is leading to which step. This is where flowcharts come in. So it is a pictorial representation of the execution of the program. Since algorithm, we already mentioned, is divided into two parts now, how to write that algorithm, whether it be a pseudocode or a flowchart. So talking about a simple algorithm, first thing that you need is to name your algorithm in a perfect manner. Like if I am baking a cake, then you need to write down cake baking. Or if you are driving a car, you're learning to drive a car, so algorithm needed would be driving a car. So that would be a perfect sensible algorithm name that you would need as the first step. Second one, You need to number each step so that the user knows, or any person who is reading out the algorithm understands that which step is leading to which ones. Next one, whatever variables you are using in your program, you need to give it a meaningful name, and that too in caps lock. For example, if you are taking a number from the user, the variable name in which you are going to take the number would be num, as the name implies that it's something connected to a number. And since it's a caps lock, so it is fulfilling that protocol as well. Then to take the input from the user during your program execution, you need to use the keyword read, that too in caps lock. To assign a certain value to a variable, for example, you have taken the input, now you need to carry out a process on that input. So to carry out that process and then in return storing the result of that process to a certain variable, you need to use the word set, S-E-T. Then to output the result of your program to the user, to let him see what is basically the result of your program, you need to write the keyword write, W-R-I-T-E. Then it is always preferable to begin your algorithm with the keyword start and to end it with exit. However, using the keyword start is not necessary, but it is necessary to use the keyword exit to show that this is the end of the algorithm, so that there is no confusion left, no ambiguity left regarding the ending of the program. While writing down the program, sometimes you need to add in a few comments, because it's not necessary that the user always understands what you are trying to say. Sometimes you need to explain to the user what you are trying to do, and for that you need to enclose the comments in your program. So you enclose, when using an algorithm, you enclose those comments within the square brackets. And last but not the least, it's not necessary that always in a program you go one step after another step. Sometimes in a few programs you need to skip a few steps in between and move on directly to the from the first to the fourth step, or from the second to the fifth step, and so on. So that so to skip a few steps and to go directly from one step to another, you use the keyword go to step, and then the number of that step from where you want to go from here to where. So these are the different terms that you use when writing down an algorithm. Going to write here today is to make a chocolate shake, something scrumptious. Okay, talking about the chocolate shake, we first need to sort out which output do we need, which type of an output do we need. This is something that we sort out in our minds. I'm just writing it down here so that you get an idea how to work on the output. So you might need enter the amount of milk in liters, the user will enter the amount, enter the amount of sugar in tablespoons, the user will enter the number of tablespoons, enter the amount of chocolate syrup in tablespoons, the user will enter the number of tablespoons, and then in the end you are going to specify that using all these ingredients in these quantities, how much, what is the quantity of the shake that is created or that is made or blended in the end. So this is the basic output. So for that you can see that you have entered three different values, and in the end you have output a single line telling them how much amount of shake would be created or would be made out of these ingredients. So working on that in the algorithm, read the amount of milk. Since you entered that value, you ask input from the user. Read the amount of sugar, again you ask this as input from the user. Read the amount of chocolate syrup, again you ask the user to input it on the screen. So as long as you're taking input from the user, you're going to use the keyword read. Once you have entered it, obviously you're going to blend them all together, and then this is where you use the word set, because you're going to blend them all together, and all together they are going to make up a shake. So that would be stored in the variable shake. So you are actually setting the value of shake equivalent to all the three quantities that you have entered before. Obviously, since this is something that the computer only knows and the user doesn't know up till now, so to tell the user how much shake is created, you use the keyword write here, because this is where you print it on the screen for the user to know the result of the program. And finally, to end the program, you use the step 6, which is exit. Make sure that you have numbered all these steps from step 1 to step 6. It's always advisable that step 1 should be begin, but if it's not begin, then please make sure that the last step should always be an exit step. Going to work on is a little mathematical, but it's very basic mathematical algorithm that takes two numbers and output their product. So here basically you have to sort out in your mind what you need to do. You need to input two numbers from the user, X and Y, and then you have to output their product. So this is a very simple algorithm. Since you are taking two inputs, so obviously read X and read Y. These are the two keywords that you are using. Then once you have taken the input from the user, obviously you will be doing the calculation and setting the value. So set product is equals to X multiplied by Y. Here is where you set up the value. Then once you have calculated the product and you have set up the value, now you need to display it on the screen, and for that you use the keyword write product. Once this is done, you will know that this is what we needed as the output. So the program is done. So next step is the exit. Step 1 to step 5, this program is complete here. Algorithm for calculating the price of the product after adding the sales tax to its original price. So what do you need to do? You need to ask the user the original price, then how much percent of the sales tax would be applied on that, because every organization have a different way of applying the sales tax. Mostly it's 1%, and then after applying that sales tax, the final price is calculated and displayed on the screen. So this is the basic output that you need. So this is also a very basic program. Starting writing the algorithm, read the original price of the product, read the sales tax rate, then you set the sales tax rate equals to original price multiplied by the sales tax rate, and then you set another final price, because the sales tax amount is just the amount, because the sales tax is given in percentage, so you'll be first converting it into the amount, into the rupees, and then adding it up to the original price. So for that you use step 4, final price is sales tax amount plus the original price. Once you know the final price, you need to display it on the screen. You use the keyword write final price, and once this is done, your program is complete. So the next step is exit. This is it. I hope you understand the basic concept of the algorithm and how to write it down. Please don't forget to subscribe and to like this video. In case of any more ambiguities, any more confusions, please leave a comment. I'll be glad to help you, and I'll be glad to answer you in the comment section. Thank you so much.